All right, let's take a look at reflexive and intensive pronouns. In your book, I'm on page 299 in the pronoun section. So we're going to take a look at these two types of pronouns that look the same. They use the same words, but because of how they're used, they have different definitions, different categories. So in the yellow box, you can see here that a reflexive pronoun ends in the suffix self or selves and indicates that someone or something in the sentence acts for or acts on itself. A reflexive pronoun is essential to the meaning of the sentence, and that's important. Now, an intensive pronoun, notice that it also ends in the suffix self or the suffix selves, and it simply adds emphasis to a noun or pronoun in the sentence. So intensive pronoun adds emphasis, whereas a reflexive indicates that someone or something is acting for itself. That's the difference that you need to know when deciding, is this reflexive or an intensive pronoun. So I'm flipping over to page 300, and at the top of the page you see there's a lovely little box here. There aren't very many of these pronouns, not many ways that you can say that you can end with the suffix of self or selves. So they've broken it up into point of view, first, second, or third person, and singular or plural. Singular, myself, yourself, himself, herself, or itself, and plural versions are ourselves, yourselves, or themselves. So not many words, but the way they're used in the sentence tells us whether it's reflexive or if it's intensive. Okay, so here's some examples. The first one, the settlers prepared themselves for a feast. You can see the book has highlighted the pronoun themselves. The giveaway is knowing that it ends in self or selves. So now we have to decide, is it reflexive or is it intensive? Well, the settlers prepared themselves for a feast. Well, who did they prepare? They prepared themselves. So that's reflexive. It's telling who they prepared for. They acted for themselves, and so that's the definition of a reflexive pronoun. Now in the second one, it says the leader himself cooked the turkey. You could also say the leader cooked the turkey, and the sentence still makes sense. But this time, the leader himself, it's adding emphasis on who cooked it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's acting for itself. It's just adding emphasis, just giving some more oomph, some more strength to the fact that the leader was the one who cooked the turkey. So now we're going to go over to our notes, and I'm going to show you what it is that you need. So we're starting, because we're still in pronouns. Oops. We're starting with letter C today in our outline. So we're talking reflexive and intensive pronouns. And just to reflect on what we wrote, it says a reflexive pronoun ends in self or selves, so that's all you ever look for, and indicates that someone or something in the sentence acts for or on itself. A reflexive pronoun is essential to the meaning of the sentence. It won't make sense if it's not there. So here's the example. The settlers prepared themselves for a feast. What's our pronoun? Well, we're looking for something that ends in self or selves, so here it is. And we know the verb prepared, it's telling us what? Prepared who? Prepared what? They prepared themselves for the feast. That's essential to the sentence. We have to have it there for the sentence to make sense. So this is a reflexive pronoun. Let's look at another one. Says Shane helped himself to a glass of milk from our refrigerator. Well, I see himself because it ends in self. Shane helped himself. Okay, so helped is my verb. So he's doing something for someone or acting to someone. Well, so that's reflexive. He helped who or for what? He helped himself. He helped who? Himself. The third one, Tegan kept herself warm by wearing her hoodie during the football game. Again, I'm looking for a word that ends in self or selves, and I see that right here, herself. The verb, we're looking at kept. So Tegan kept what? Warm. Kept herself. So she's doing something for herself. So herself is a reflexive pronoun. Okay, so now let's take a look again at intensive. Also ends in self or selves, but it just adds emphasis to a noun or pronoun in the sentence. Down here we've got that same example. The leader cooked himself, the leader himself cooked the turkey. So we're going to highlight the word that ends in self or selves. That's himself. So it says the leader himself cooked the turkey. Could we also say the leader cooked the turkey and it doesn't throw off the meaning of the sentence? Yes. Does himself add emphasis to the sentence about who did it? Yes, it does. So that's why it's called intensive pronoun. We're making something more intense in the sentence. Have you ever heard, a little kid say, "I did it all by myself"? That they're showing that it's intensive. They're proud of themselves, and that's kind of how I think about intensive pronouns. You want to add emphasis. You really want to drive a point home, and so we're adding an extra word just to make the sentence more intense, to stress the meaning a little bit more.